Hey guys, this is Brendan with Gone Mobile Vans. We're here in our shop in Costa Mesa, California. We literally just finished this high roof, extended transit, all-wheel drive dually a couple minutes ago. It's a little bit dirty. We're gonna get it detailed tomorrow, so bear with us for that, but I gotta show you guys how cool this thing looks. So this transit is a 2022 model. It's an extended 148 transit, high roof, all-wheel drive, and an EcoBoost. So one of the things that's unique about this transit is that it's a dually. Extra payload with this thing and a little wider stance for some extra stability. So with this 2022 model, up front we have the new 12-inch screen on this van. So you're either going to get the small little 4-inch screen, which is really hard to use in my opinion, or the new 12-inch screen. Pros and cons to both. The smaller screen has still physical buttons for your AC unit and speakers and controls and stuff like that. This one is pretty much all touchscreen, so it takes a little bit of getting used to knowing where those things are, but overall I think the experience of the bigger screen is pretty awesome. So this is a crew van here on this transit. So it came with a 3-person bench seat stock. We opted to go to a 2-person bench seat instead for this build, so he can still have some access to the back of the van and have a doorway galley here. So we still have the stock Ford Transit seat rails in the floor, so in case he does want to put his 3-person bench seat back in, he's able to for traveling, and then he can take it out once he gets someplace. But in position most of the time is going to be a 2-person bench seat. So we removed the factory floor. It only goes back a couple of feet anyways behind the seat. So we took that out and we put in our whole new subfloor and finished flooring in here. So we have a nice floor all the way from the back to the front of the van with no different flooring transitions. So for the finished flooring of this van, we went with the black coin mat material. Really rugged, holds up well for all sorts of activities, dogs, bikes, motorcycles, camping gear, all that sort of stuff. Cleans up well and it holds up well, the thing sliding on there. I like this finish for a lot of our vans, and it pairs nicely with our custom rear aluminum trim step here. So we installed a Lagoon swivel table here on right behind the passenger seat. We fabricate this bracket here that bolts into factory locations. Nice swivels can be used for the guys when you swivel the seat around. It can also be swiveled outside, so you got your drink holder outside when you're barbecuing. Easy to put in, keep in place, or remove, store it out of the way when you don't need it. So with the crew van, it comes with solid glass windows from the factory. This client opted for us to replace those with half slider windows from AM Auto. So now we've got ventilation on both right behind the driver's seat and on the sliding door as well. So continuing with the crew van functionality of this transit, it comes with a headliner in here. This hides airbags on both the driver and the passenger side for your rear occupants. We opted to remove the headliner, we insulate everything up in here. We also end up putting in puck lights to continue the lighting for the rest of the van. So if you're thinking about deciding whether it's a crew van or a cargo van is right for you, really the main deal is, are airbags a need to have for you? If they are a need to have for your rear occupants, and then absolutely you got to go with the crew van. If airbags aren't a need to have, there are aftermarket crash tested and approved seating solutions that you could put into your cargo van, and that way you don't have to have the airbags and you can have a finished look from front to back of the van, and instead of having to go with a half factory headliner, half finished van that we put in. For the portion of the ceiling that we finished, we went with a pre-finished Baltic birch up on the ceiling here, so it's a sort of a light and bright finish. We added additional puck lights in the back, as well as a handy Maxfan 7500. I think it comes out pretty nice. It's a nice transition from the factory headliner to the rear of the van where everything is finished that we've done. We put quite a bit of LTrack in this van, so this client will be able to go ahead and add mule bags from Adventure Wagon or hanging bags from Van Wife Components or Campo Vans. Give him plenty of options. He can also string up a surfboard in here between the overhead LTrack. Give him plenty of options for storage and hanging items. One of the cool things about the Transit is that the depth of the walls is really quite deep, so much more so than on the Sprinter. So because of that, we can utilize our internal flares in here to maximize the side-to-side space in the van without having to actually add flares on the outside. That being said, this is a pretty laborious process. It looks awesome, but if we were to go with actual flares from Flare Space, it's quicker for us to install them, which translates into a better cost for our clients. The fabric that we use for the wall panels is a Marathon Tweed. It's a charcoal color. It's one of our more popular colors. It's relatively neutral, but it's a nice color. It goes well with a lot of things, and it's also easy clean. So for our bunk windows, we went with AM Auto 15 by 40 bunk half sliders. Love them. They open up really nice and easy. They've got integrated bug screens, so you can keep them open. They work great with a Maxfan to get that nice cross ventilation when you're sleeping here in the bed. They're sleek, they're tinted, they got some privacy to color to them already, so it's a nice look. I think they look great on the outside of the van. They're a nice OEM look, clean lines. I enjoy using these windows. So in this van, we went with the 15 by 40 versus the 9 by 30s that we use quite often. I feel like on the extended vans, the bigger ones, the 170 Sprinters or the 148 extended Transits, they're in the right proportion for the van. So, and they also let in a little bit more light, and I think it works well in the bigger vans. So the combination of the windows and the Maxfan makes a really great sleeping situation. You get a nice cross breeze with the fan on extract. It's pulling air through. You can open up either your bunk windows or even some of the half sliders up front, and it's moving air all night long. It really makes a nice, like I said, sleeping environment. The white noise is helpful for me when I sleep in the van, but yeah, it's a great combination, and really you gotta have both of these things in vans. So we've added our standard gooseneck flexible reading lights in the back of the van. They're touch sensitive, they turn on. There's 3 levels of brightness plus a red light to make it easier on your eyes in the middle of the night. There's also a USB port up here on the body, so it's great for charging your phone at night as well. So in our fender boxes for this van, we've got a 20-gallon wheel well water tank from RB Components, as well as a SureCal calorifier in here for our hot water system. This hot water system is heated by the coolant loop on the engine, so it's pumping coolant back here, going through a heat exchange and heating up 2.5 gallons of water. That's why we'll have hot water out the back and hot water at the galley, basically from excess engine heat. One of the great things about the calorifier is that it's all built in. There's no extra moving parts. There's no propane bottles for an instant hot water heater. You get free hot water while you're driving. So as a result, we've got a mixer tap at the back here for hot and cold water out the back, as well as a hot and cold tap up front. So here's the compartment for the hot water mixer out the back, hot and cold, quick connect for the washdown hose, goes in, turns on like that. And now we've got water out the back of the van. So one of the good things about the extended van is that we're still able to get a 20-gallon wheel well water tank in there, but we're also able to fit the calorifier inside the van, which just makes plumbing a little bit easier. But you can mount these underneath the van as well. They come with mounting brackets, stainless steel straps that you could mount to the underside of the van, and you could have all of that underneath the van and then bring your plumbing in that way. This fender box, we've got basically 3 main components on the side of the van. We've got the factory rear AC unit that came with this crew van. We also have our Goal Zero Yeti 3000X farther forward. And then in front of the wheel well, we actually have an Espar Gas cabin heater up front for hot air in the van. Here's the main intake grate for this cabinet. So this will allow the air conditioner to pull air through here and exhaust the cold air up top. It allows for some air for the Goal Zero when it's charging under high load or drawing power under high load. And it also provides air for the Espar Gas Heater up front. So for this rear mounted AC unit, this is really an engine on air conditioning unit. It's not something that you're gonna run off grid. You have to have the engine running. It's just like what comes through in your dash up front. But it is a nice solution for these bigger vans, especially if you might have some rear occupants, to be able to help keep the rear of the van cooler than it would just from the air up front. Another option would be like a 12-volt air conditioning unit mounted on the roof that could run off your house system instead of off the van. So you could use that while you're out camping, things like that, if you have a big enough battery system to be able to power that off grid. So 2 different options for 2 different scenarios. This works well while you're driving. The other one works well while you're off grid. So we installed the Goal Zero Yeti 3000X in this van. We consider the 3000X to be the right size for 90% of our van builds. It's got a great capacity to power everything in the van: refrigerator, water pump, heater, fan, lights, USB ports. And it's a small enough footprint to fit into a small fender box in most cases. This Goal Zero charges in 2 different ways. One is from the 2 100-watt solar panels on the roof, and the other is through the Link module, which provides alternator charging at up to 750 watts. So for the galley for this van, we went with the Lost Hiway Customs doorway galley. This has a nice storage drawer up here with these positive latching locks here, low profile, super sturdy, and it fits an Isotherm DR85 fridge. I like the DR85 because when you open it up, it's a drawer style fridge and you can access from the outside of the van and from the inside of the van in this case, when it's in the doorway here. So nice use case for this location. Super sleek look, nice stainless steel finish. I think it looks really nice in this galley. All aluminum construction. This thing doesn't rattle, it's not gonna move, it's gonna outlast the van itself. So for the water system for this galley, we're getting water from our 20-gallon wheel well water tank. It has both cold and hot water coming from the calorifier in the back. We got a 12-volt cigarette style adapter right here. We've got 2 USB outlets right there. We've got regular 110 household outlet right here, and we've got our water pump switch right here. Under here, we've got the gray tank, 5-gallon jerry can underneath here with a quick connect fitting, so it's easy to disconnect and pull the tank out and dump it in an appropriate location. There's also the connections for the refrigerator, things like that underneath, but it's a pretty clean little solution. And some extra little storage for paper towels, things like that as well under there. For the control panel for this van, we've got a remote for the Maxxair fan. We've got a dimmer switch for our lights, on, off, as well as dim. And then we also have the control system for the Espar heater, so we can set our timers or set the temperature and can turn the heater on and off here. So we went with the VersaBed for the sleeping platform in this van. I love this thing because it converts from a bench seat into a bed in a couple of minutes. No other panel beds have the same sort of functionality of being able to be a bench seat hanging out here and turn it into a bed. We went with a 5-inch memory foam mattress for this. We have it sectioned into one 36-inch piece and two 18-inch pieces, so that way it can work for a bench seat cushion and a backrest cushion, as well as just the top part that typically stays stationary. We went with a headliner shelf from Van Wife Components. In this build, got a curtain rod here as well, so if you want, you can get one of their blackout curtains and hang it here, so you don't have to set up window covers all the way up front. If you just want to do it quick and easy with a blackout curtain, this is a great solution for that. So for the suspension upgrades for this van, we went with the Van Compass 2.0 Topo kit. This is a stage 2 kit. For the tires on this van, we went with Falken Wildpeak AT3s, 245, 75, 16s. We kept the stock steel wheels, although we did rattle can them black because they were shiny silver. The client didn't want to go with upgraded wheels at this time, but the black sure makes it look a heck of a lot better right off the bat. For the roof rack for this van, we went with an Aluminess touring loop roof rack. It's got the perforated deck up there, so it's a full walk-on platform. It's got the drop-down front bar, which holds the KC Gravity Pro 6 LED light bar just perfectly up there. Looks awesome in my opinion, having that big light bar up there. We also have KC scene lights all the way around the van, so 2 on the driver's side, 2 on the passenger side, and 2 in the rear of the rack as well. And we also went with the Fiama F45S awning on this van. This is a 10-foot awning. We could have gone with the 12-foot awning, but this one works quite well on the extended van anyways. All right guys, that's it for the tour of this Transit. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really stoked with how it came out and I can't wait to deliver it to the client later this week. If you like vans like this, I hope you consider subscribing to our channel, giving it a thumbs up, and hope to see you on the next one.